The most successful people in the world are the people that can self-soothe. So can you avoid being triggered? If you're being triggered and you look outward and you're angry at the person that triggered you, that's weakness. You are manifesting weakness. They are good decision makers. They are hyper resilient. They don't stop at failure. They don't get in their own way from an ego perspective. They're looking nakedly at their own inadequacies. And they've got enough confidence to get people going behind them. To me, there's only one definition of success, and it's entirely neurochemical based. So the goal is fulfillment. That's it.
Now, the two of you have built two successful businesses. One that sold for $1 billion, the next that's reached 1 billion people. What's behind that success?
First of all, I'm going to steal that. That's amazing. I like that.
Really good.
It's amazing. I mean, flat out amazing.
Yeah, so the only truthful answer is we run something we call the physics of progress. So I don't think of myself as being highly intelligent. I meet minimum requirements. There's no doubt. I don't want people to think I don't think I can, get my way through life. But what I'm good at and what we're good at together is not being right all the time. It's basically learning from your mistakes. So the physics of progress is you come up with a hypothesis. It should be as informed as possible. You figure out a way to turn that into something you can actually do. So you're going to run a test. Then you actually run that test. And then this is where most people fall down. You have to lower your psychological defenses to stare nakedly at the results. And oftentimes that's going to be you didn't do something well, you didn't think through this right, you made a mistake somewhere. And then if you're willing to do that and you learn from that, then you can re-inform your hypothesis, make it a little bit better, run that whole system again. And once you get in that loop, then you can really make progress. But yeah, the tenacity it takes to face your inadequacies and continue to try, that's where we've succeeded.
I mean, that sounds very scientific, right? That kind of...
It's literally the scientific method recontextualized for business, 100%.
No way. One of the things that's so unique about you as a couple is that collectively you've now literally had hundreds of interviews with people who are masters at something. And when you think about patterns and, after all of that intel that you've been able to uncover and explore, do you feel like there's any patterns, or the biggest patterns that are holding people back from achieving their success right now? Like, what does it boil down to for you?
So the people that are successful, they can self-soothe, they can stay emotionally calm in the midst of a storm. When everybody else is panicking, they're only looking at solutions. And that's the other thing about the no bullshit, what would it take game. The whole point is to switch you out of problem mode into solution mode. Most people can only see, these are the 152 ways that this could go wrong. And we started doing that to say, no matter how outrageous, there is a way to pull this off. So what would need to be true for this to work? Stop telling me all the things that aren't going to work. Tell me the thing that is going to work. And once you get to that, you're like, okay, well, if we did X, Y, Z, it would work. Okay. Now, are we willing to do that, yes or no? And if we're not, is there another thing that we are willing to do? But at least now we're operating from a position of that would work. It is this weird thing of, dude, I fear that I'm too dumb to do the things that I want to do in my life. I never know if I'm right, and I go all out every fucking time. And I'm just trying to make it happen. And so I have the courage of conviction to say, I know about myself. I will keep going until I figure this out. Not that I already understand everything, that I have the courage to figure this out. And then I will go through and I will weather that storm. People are intoxicated by that certainty, where I'm like, hey, get behind me. I will get us through this. I am not telling you I already understand everything, but I am telling you I will not stop fighting until we get to the other side. Dude, the way that people will pile in behind you when you do that, I have the chills now because I know how people respond to that. So if you can manage your emotions, if you've got the courage to fight through that storm, if you're not easy to knock off your pedestal and you're humble enough to know that you're almost certainly making mistakes so that you know when to correct course, that's the recipe.
So I think this is really interesting because there's almost an assumption that we haven't even talked about yet, and that is, how do you define success? Like, what became the thing that I want to achieve that? Or as a couple, you've been doing this, you've been on this journey together. So how do you define success as a couple and individually?
Life is a game of manipulating your neurochemistry. It's why I tell people the most important thing to realize is you're having a biological experience. Nature understands that to get you to do the things that nature wants you to do, which is have kids that live long enough to have kids, that the only levers that it has to pull have to do with creating desire or pain, right? So you want to move towards something, you want to move away from something. And so fulfillment is the only neurochemical state that I think exists that's resilient to the ups and downs. Because if you say you just want to be happy, so transient, right? I love eating ice cream. There are few things that make me happier than sex with my wife and eating a bowl of ice cream. Like those two are really, really peak.
Hopefully in that order.
I have to think about that. Can I do them at the same time?
Sure.
So those things are like really peak. But if my entire life were eating ice cream and having sex, then I would get miserable. And so the irony of that becomes transient, that it's not meeting some need that nature has baked into our hard wiring, it's like, okay, wait a second, then just pursuing happiness is not the right thing. So fulfillment, which I have a formula for, and I think this is universal, this is just based on what evolution has programmed into our brains, is you must work hard in pursuit of a set of skills that allows you to serve not only yourself, but other people. And when you do that, so we're a social animal, so you have to contribute to the group, that's just a thing. Nature had to make sure that you would get out of the cave, face a saber-toothed tiger to get fed, so you had to be willing to do hard things. Not only willing, but that if you didn't do it, you had a sense of dis-ease. So that to me is the formula. So life is ultimately about go out, do hard things that allow you to serve the group and yourself. And if you do that, you'll have a sense of fulfillment, even in the dark days when it's hard, something goes wrong and it's a major struggle, but you're like, I know why I'm doing this, right? The act of service. I'm getting better at something. Improvement, as Tony Robbins says, improvement is a foundational pillar to human happiness. It's like you've got in that bundle all the things you need to meet nature's requirements, and you will feel, even when it's hard, satisfied.
If you could speak right into the camera and say, this is my advice to you, what would you say to those 14 and 15-year-olds right now?
Okay, you can become anything you want to become, but you're gonna have to pay a heavy price to get there. So the question is, what is it that you wanna do? Most of you aren't gonna know the answer to that. So you're gonna go explore. As Kevin Kelly says, don't prematurely optimize. Go experiment, go try things. Just like Lisa was saying, go play around, go enjoy yourself, figure out what it is that you like. Nothing is ever going to be self-evident. You're never going to come across something you're like, this is what I meant to do with the rest of my life. You are going to find something that gives you more energy than it takes. When you find something that when you do it, you're like, ooh, this is fun, and you're actually energized by it, then you're going to go down the path of actually gaining skills in that. The more you engage with that, if that continues to be more fun, now it will become a fascination. Once something becomes a fascination, now we're gonna really figure out if we can serve other people with that set of skills. If you can, you've got a hope of turning that into a passion. Passion is about acquiring enough skills at something that other people care about, and you have to care about it first and foremost. But if you care about it and other people care about it, now you get into that reciprocal relationship where, and it could be playing the guitar, it could be playing video games, right? Think about somebody that's just an absolute God tier gamer, and other people will show up at a stadium to watch them play. They'll sit on Twitch for hours watching them play. So you're doing something that brings joy to other people. But they had to get freakishly good at that. They had to spend a lot of time improving their skill set. So they worked hard to gain a set of skills that allows them to serve not only themselves, but other people. That is the name of the game. The problem is people are expecting something to be self-evident. They are told a lie that they're born with a purpose. You're not born with a purpose. You're going to decide that this passion, this thing that you've worked your ass off to get good at, that allows you to serve not only yourself, but other people, that's now your purpose. So when I was at Quest, my purpose was making sure that people had food that they could choose based on taste, and it happened to be good for them. At Impact Theory, the goal is to give people a growth mindset at scale through story. So I'm just doing entertaining things, but it's designed to help them get that right mindset. That is my purpose. That wasn't my purpose when I was 12 or 20 or even 30. So you're going to decide, and then you're going to do things to reinforce that in your own mind.